Todd Sachs of Sachs Realty, and welcome to this podcast of Turn It Upside Down. And today we're with Tim Clarke of Thrive Agency. We're going to talk about something I'm very passionate about, and that's building your online reputation and also positive reviews. So this is something you don't want to miss. So Tim, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Can you go ahead and introduce what you do?
Sure. So I'm the Reputation Management Manager at Thrive Agency, and so I work with over 200 small and medium-sized businesses to maintain and improve their online reputation, which is mainly focused on reviews and specifically Google reviews.
That's the biggest platform, isn't it? Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yelp is huge. Facebook is huge, especially when we're talking about all businesses. Better Business Bureau is a great one because they don't require any customer logins. So it's really easy to just ask someone to go on BBB and give you a quick review. So,
yeah. So I remember, what was it, not too long ago, Yelp was under scrutiny, though, weren't they?
Yelp has a big problem. I mean, officially their policy is it's not pay to play. You can't pay to have better reviews, or you can't pay advertising fees to remove your negative reviews. But the issue that they have is it's a huge company, and they have kind of rogue salespeople that pop up from time to time in their huge workforce. And, you know, they're saying things or potentially kind of changing small business profiles to help their personal sales goals. So there have been a lot of cases of, kind of a new salesperson is trying to hit their monthly quota, and they may make some promises to a business to sign up that they shouldn't have, like, I'm going to put you ahead of a competitor. I'm going to remove a 1-star review. And so we personally at Thrive, we spoke to a restaurant actually near here in DC that they felt they actually had a salesperson see fake negative reviews on their Yelp profile and then called them and tried to sell them an advertising package. So
wow.
There's some things going on. It's not really their company policy, but you know.
So I mean, I'm always preaching in our sales meetings and when I'm talking to agents to try and bolster reviews, because it's something I feel like we don't, as far as Sachs Realty, doesn't do as much as we should. I'm always saying that, hey, if you don't foster those good reviews, if you do enough business, you're going to get a bad review.
Sure.
So what we want to try and prevent is that's the only review that they see.
Sadly, I would say, most of the businesses that we work with, they come to us at that situation, at that point, which is they're being reactive, not proactive.
So they're calling you up and say, hey, look, I have 10 bad reviews. Can you help us out?
Yeah. And it's always a bad conversation because they're hoping that they could kind of just pay or do some work to make it disappear, which is never the case. And so really, like you said, you have to be proactive. I mean, if you're getting 1 or 2 negatives every month, you better have 10 or 20 positives to drown them out. It's actually okay to have a 4.5 or a 4.7 as long as most of your reviews are positive and the negative ones that you received, you're publicly responding to those. The worst thing that you can do is get an awful 1-star review as any type of business and just ignore it and leave it there. It's better if you can say, for example, we're really sorry we didn't, meet the standard here. Let me contact you directly to try to fix it. That public response is fantastic. So we do that for our clients, but we also recommend it for every type of business.
So you think Google reviews are the most important right now?
I think Google has a stranglehold for really 2 reasons. The first is mobile search, because if you have an Android phone like me or a lot of people, your phone's going to default to a Google search, most likely when you're searching. And so a lot of their searches will display their Google reviews on the top. And so if you don't have at least a 4-star, you're often shut out of those searches.
Can the public review you whether you have a Google My Page account or not?
They can review you because Google will set up sort of a temporary kind of template. But every business should claim that, because if you don't, it may have incorrect location info or wrong map, wrong phone number, that type of information. Because if a business doesn't claim it, it's kind of up to the public to fill out the information. So, we've seen that situation where a business won't will ignore Google and not claim it, and they go in there and they have 2 reviews. They're both negative. The location is wrong. The phone number is last year's phone number. Maybe the hours are wrong. So that's kind of step one. Contact Google My Business. Make sure you set up that local listing. They're probably going to send you a postcard or email to verify, but it's
verification code. Yeah.
And that's
But it's-
all linked to the Google Maps, correct? Because you can put in your GPS, and the second you leave, you are told to rate where you were. That's an option. So that's all linked to that Google business.
right. It's all linked, so that's really necessary to set up and kind of maintain, make sure all the info is correct, because you'll lose all of that kind of local search.
So you think step one is no matter whether you have a product or service that you need to set up that Google My Page and really be monitoring that.
Sure. Yeah, I would that's day one. You want to set up your Google My Business and your Facebook page. And a big issue with Facebook is they've switched from what's called, they had a 5-star system like Yelp and Google, but they've switched to a recommendation
I've
system.
noticed that.
So you actually if you have an account now or you're setting up an account, make sure you look at those settings, because a lot of the accounts are defaulting to have no reviews or just do those recommendations.
And what was the rule of thumb? You said you wanted 2 negative per how many positive?
We like to tell our clients at least 5 to 10 times. So if you're generally getting 1 or 2 kind of scathing bad reviews a month, you're going to want 5 to 10 to 20 positives.
You had mentioned, it's okay to have a couple bad reviews. I actually think that that's good, because it makes it, for me, it makes it more believable. That, no, you don't want to push bad reviews, but I have a tendency to read the bad reviews. And then a lot of times I can say, you know what, this guy or gal or whatever experience wasn't really
That
reasonable.
bad, yeah.
Like, they're just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't please them anyway. And then sometimes you can actually click on that profile, and sometimes I'll do that to see that every place they go, or the only thing that they do is push
Exactly.
out bad reviews.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's neat how some of the platforms, especially like Yelp and things like that, that they actually will expose the reviewer.
Yeah.
Yes, they're trying to put transparency on both sides, because there's even been lawsuits where people wrote fraudulent reviews or kind of exaggerated, and money was awarded. So
A long time ago, a lot of people were reviewing their own businesses. So, and that can hurt them, right?
So Google specifically, they have a policy where if something looks fishy, you can flag it right on the page. It looks like a little flag. And the more flags that they get, the more likely they are to take action. And then they would probably suspend that account and then maybe eventually delete the reviews and take the account down.
So it comes from other consumers flagging it versus it being internally on Google noticing it itself?
Most likely, and the reason for that is you have to think of Google's sort of penalty system or flagging review system like the IRS. It's, if you're small enough, they're not going to look at you most likely. If you're a big retailer on Amazon and your searches are showing up to millions of people per month, Google will then look at those reviews more, just like the IRS would look at a millionaire before a normal person. So it's, I'm not saying you're likely to get away with it, but it's about the scale. So if you had 100 where it was all your employees, yes, you're running a risk, but it comes down to how many people are going to flag it and notify Google. And so if it's a small company with very few people looking at it, they may run under the radar. But if it's, fake reviews on Amazon, you're going to get flagged within days probably.
So how do you tell a business person to foster good reviews?
Sure.
What as a professional doing this for a living, I mean, what steps can you tell them that makes it easier for them to actually ask for it or get their client to do it?
The nice thing about Google and pretty much every review site is they will allow what's called personal references as long as you're very transparent about it. So that's a great place to start. So if you had maybe sort of friends that have worked with you or relatives that you also provided services to, they are allowed to write reviews for you as long as they're transparent and they say, you know, by the way, that, you know, he's also my cousin or something like that. But that counts as a review. I still trust that, you know, as long as someone's transparent, and a lot of people will. So we'll tell people, you know, get a few on your account from friends, but people you worked with. So I'll do that maybe for a client, but I'll be transparent and say I'm a marketing partner, but I know he cares about or she cares about their business. They care enough to, you know, put budget into this, for example. So we'll help with that. But then it's really about, you have to go backwards at that point. Step 2 is look back and think about who did you work with in the recent past that's still going to remember your service, and ask them. So that's a big problem, or a big kind of issue though, is because we work with a restaurant with, you know, all around the country. People remember that meal experience for a half an hour. We also work with a company that builds, you know, custom beautiful swimming pools in Florida. People remember that experience for 5 years.
Right.
And the name of the person who built the pool. So,
So depending on what you do, depends on how far back you can try and capture that.
So our restaurants will say, go back a day. You know, our pool builders will say, let's go back 3 years. So that would be step 2. And then step 3, you have to make it part of your daily process. So that may mean, you know, putting an iPad in the front of the office here where people can fill a review while they wait. It may mean just passing out a business card with a QR code or a URL that goes to a review site, or just, you know, mentioning it in your meetings.
That's a great point, because some people are really reluctant to give the reviews, and it's probably just because of convenience, I'm thinking. So if you gave them an engine to have it be like really easy and it's right in front of their face, then they'd be more apt to do it, I would think.
When I ask people to do a review, or we talk about it, or, you know, I'll talk to one of our agents about their experience in getting reviews or asking for reviews, a lot of times the people have all great intentions to actually write a review, but then they never actually do it.
Yeah.
Do you ever recommend actually telling them what to say? I mean, to say, you know, hey, look, does this describe our experience, or is that kind of like, don't do that?
Technically, you're not supposed to coach. I mean, we've seen different businesses sort of get in trouble by doing humongous email campaigns where they, you know, have a nice paragraph and say copy and paste this into Google. What we like to do for our clients is we like to create a simple landing page, a web page, where we send that to their customer and it displays the past 10 positive reviews in full.
Here's the last several reviews that I've had, and maybe that will inspire them to do the same. What about as far as, like, I know on some sites it's just asking you to star review as opposed to writing something down. Do you think they both work the same, just having, you know, a 5-star review or a 3-star review versus a written review?
That's a good question.
No, actually, this is a huge topic. All reviews are not equal. We strongly prefer very detailed reviews, and the reason for that is search engine optimization. So basically, the way Google and Bing produce their natural rankings is affected by the text within reviews. One of the clients, the big restaurant, it's Tex-Mex food, and so one thing that they have that's really special is a chocolate piñata. You know, like kids break it at the meal, birthday party, and so that's really unique. But you know, Tex-Mex is everywhere. You can find that. So they wanted specifically to highlight that chocolate piñata, those kind of like kids' birthday
parties, things like that. So when they're reviewing, hey, we went there, we had a birthday party, the chocolate piñata was great, that review in itself is really pushing the optimization for that restaurant.
So we specifically will ask those customers, we knew you had this like party booked, could you please you know, like give feedback on that specifically
And mention it in your comments. Yeah.
And it works because, you know, if you are searching for, you know, kids' birthday party, Mexican restaurant, and those phrases continually come up in the reviews, Google will use that.
Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. So I know this is a hot topic right now. I've been to a conference on it and have been doing a lot of research. Alexa, more specifically, and Amazon, and you have the Fire Stick and smart TVs, and things are constantly listening. Our phones are constantly listening to us. Do you see where we will end up in more of voice-activated search and results? Are the reviews, from what you know, I mean, is that what's really driving what Alexa recommends?
Yes, because already now searches are displaying only businesses that meet a 4.0, usually is the default 4.0 out of 5. So as voice search grows, those types of simple searches that just have 3 or 5 highly rated businesses are going to be larger. And it might end up being just the top 2 or 3, which means you're going to need like a 4.7 maybe to grab one of those top spots.
So for the businesses that don't have good reviews right now, what do you do for them?
If we feel that some of the bad reviews are not valid, we're a Google partner, so we'll work with Google directly to try to get those off.
How long does that take?
Anywhere from 2 days to 3 weeks usually with
How
Google.
successful is it?
I would say if it's valid, meaning you've seen the reviews out there where, maybe it generally what they're looking for is, improper speech. So, they'll say something kind of demeaning or rude, or if they go after an employee individually, that's against Google's rules. You can say, this McDonald's was awful, but you can't say Joe, the manager, was bad.
What's next? What if they're valid?
If they're valid, then we like to say, let's drown it out. And the 5 or 10 to 1 rule is great because all the review sites are generally displaying your past 10 reviews on that first screen. The date of reviews is important, and so that's why it's great to sort of drown out negative ones that you have, because people will generally look at the ones from the past month. And we've even seen studies, large data studies that have been published recently where certain consumers, they won't trust any review that's over 2 weeks old for anything. So, for that reason, you just need new reviews.
So, Tim, can you just give us the top platforms that we really need to pay attention to and foster our reviews?
Sure. I'll highlight 4 just because every industry, every business that we've worked with has this. The first is obviously Google. So everyone needs their Google My Business account set up and to focus on those reviews. So that's day 1, minute 1. I would do Facebook second, because Facebook not only is going to rank for any search for your business, but it's you're able to use those reviews as marketing in the future. So you also have that benefit with Facebook, is you can then use that review content to build ads. So that would be my number 2. Third would be Yelp, which with a little asterisk, which is it's always going to have the most of your negative reviews. Those scores are always the lowest of the major ones, but you have to focus on it because it's popular. And then I would do Better Business Bureau, because it's a big trust signal and it covers every industry. And
Interesting.
It's great to get reviews because unlike pretty much every other major review site, you don't need to log in to write a review. So if I'm with my customer, I can say, take out your phone, please, and give me a quick review. On Google, any other site, they have to be logged in to do that. So it's quick. On the consumer side, it still has that name recognition,
right,
and they have a nice logo for websites. The BBB rating stands out. So
they've been around for a very long time.
Yep.
And Google likes even though it's not the best website, Google likes their results. So
why don't you tell everyone how they can get a hold of you? So I mean, if they have questions and want to dig in deeper and maybe even use some of the services that you provide.
Sure. So I would invite everyone to go to our website, thriveagency.com. We can help people with any website or digital marketing service, including building reviews. And me personally, my email is tim@thriveagency.com. and I run all our review management programs. So, if you're looking to build reviews quickly, I'm the guy.
We really appreciate you coming in. I mean, it's great information.
Thank you. It was fun.
Really take this to heart. So you should really be fostering good reviews. If you're in business long enough and you're doing enough business, bad reviews will happen. So let's just pay attention to that. And thank you so much for tuning in.